This is Gerry Visca, the author of the new book, Influence, Women Inspiring Change. And I'm with probably my favorite person in the world, Mo Hagan. Mo, welcome.
Hey, thanks, Gerry. Great to be with you today.
I'm so excited about your chapter, your energy, the fact that I got an opportunity not only to publish you in a couple cool issues of our magazine, but I got the chance to do your autobiography. And I got to tell you, I was already fascinated by the world of motion that you're creating, but the fact that I was able to do this amazing autobiography just brought me to tears and tears of joy. So I always say your story, Mo, is their story. And you have a very, very cool story that I feel women and men can just relate to. The fact that you're a twin, I just think is extraordinary. So how can your story inspire the influencer in all of us?
I believe it's through having inspiration through the stories to then inspire yourself to take the bold steps forward necessary to step into your own greatness. Most people are held back by telling themselves a story of what they're not capable of. And in reflecting in my story, and I'm truly grateful for the chance to tell it because I'm 55 years old and I can honestly say I've never reflected on my journey thus far in life until I had this opportunity. And it really gave me the opportunity to reflect on how I got to where I am so far. I still have a big piece of my journey left to take, and what was it that projected me forward? And it was always the bold steps that I was willing to take, or I was pushed to take, or I was inspired to take. And I look at the inspiration, it didn't come from just easy inspiration. It came from being told what I couldn't do or what I wasn't capable of doing or being told no. And that really empowered me to show myself what I was capable of. I was going to say show the world, but it was more about I was empowering myself to see what was possible. And so I really feel that when you read someone's autobiography or story, it really does inspire something within you. And each person will be inspired differently when they read my story and the other stories in the book. And that's just going to be a match or to light the fire within themselves to do or take the step necessary to go to their full potential.
I love it. I love it. So as you know, the last couple books I've written out of the 16 books, the last two have been autobiographies. And I get really inspired and jazzed up about stories. I feel there's a real power in stories, especially of everyday people like yourself that are stepping into their life now, doing extraordinary things. And it's funny because one of the influencers, Nathalie Plemino Thomas, who speaks so highly of you, when she got her story back, the first draft, she was blown away because she thought it was just I was just going to transcribe the interview and that was it. She's like, I've never seen somebody write an autobiography in such a poetic way, certainly her life story. So I know that I really like to go deep and I really like to pull out all the juicy parts. And with Mo Hagan, there's a lot of great things to pull out. So what was the experience like for you going through this autobiography experience with me?
It was like taking away layers. You know, it's like peeling back the layers of an onion, but it's peeling back the layers that for me was helping me to blossom by taking away the layers of protection. It was really allowing me to reveal myself, you know, and you're so easy to work with and you ask such safe yet eloquent questions that make anyone being interviewed by you feel really comfortable sharing. And so in sharing, I caught myself many times thinking, I actually didn't realize that before, or is that really, allowed me to reflect on my own thoughts around my own story. So it was really liberating is the word I choose, and fulfilling because I learned a lot about myself through just telling my story. I had a few outside of body experiences. It sounds kind of cliche, but I remember thinking as I was literally stepping back and listening myself, thinking, wow, that did happen and that did influence my life, or I did overcome that, or, you know, even though it was there were times where I was so frustrated, mostly growing up in a single parent family where it was one voice and I felt I didn't have a voice because I was told what I had to do or not do. And I was looking for that, you know, that the other parent that would give me an opportunity to share my feelings, but yet it forced me to stand up for myself, be independent, and it really did help me shape my own voice and become as strong as I am today. So, but while I was sharing those parts, it made me realize that, well, part of my memory was the frustration or the sad parts. It made me really realize that out of those challenges rose huge opportunities that really projected me forward in my life and my career today. So it was like peeling away all of that negativity to really bring out the positive parts of my life. I can truly say that I've had a really fulfilling and positive and great life as a result of where I've come from, because all of those challenges actually produced huge lessons and opportunities that I'm so grateful for today. And now I can use as sort of muscle to reaffirm in myself that I have what it takes to even be bolder and more courageous, stronger, and even more agile going forward. So it was a good lesson. You tell your story, but it was actually, it was one of the best schoolings that I've had for a very long time.
You know, what I love about this type of journey with someone like you, is it's one thing to write a self-help book, and you've written a couple extraordinary books as well. What I love about this kind of writing is I really don't know what the hell I'm doing. I don't start off with any kind of sort of presumption. I had this theme in my mind 3 years ago, as you know, and I parked it. And I find that happens. You get real inspired thoughts. I always wondered what made someone like Mo Hagan a person of influence. What makes someone that's everyday, an everyday person, just all of a sudden say, hey, I want to create this legacy and meaningful legacy in the world. And that fascinated me, but it took 3 years to find you. And it took me, 3 years to really find the right people for this book. And what I love about it is not just the stories, which are meaningful, but it's the insights. So by me interviewing you, we pulled out literally over 100, and I call them inspired insights. And just the insights alone in this whole book, there's over 100. Just the insights, even if you didn't read the stories, you would be blown away by just the insights. So I know
those are the gold nuggets in any book, because they're the quick takeaways, or I like to say quick wins. And they're also anchor the thoughts that you have shared within the stories, but it just pulls it out and it articulates that lesson or that piece. And that's my favorite part of any book. And that's what I love about your books, because you can open up a book of Gerry Visca's and you can get that nugget, and it can be your food for the day, your mental inspiration that just makes you think or reflect or affirm what it is that you're going to set forth for the day. So I love, and I can't wait to read.
Yeah, it's amazing.
100, how exciting.
I know. Okay, so tell me, what do you want the reader to experience with the energy of this book? What do you want them to experience?
I would love them to experience self-reflection and the permission to share their own story, whether it is writing it down for themselves or whether it's to start to tell their story to someone else that I am sure that person would need to hear. An example of that is the whole Women Who Influence event, which is where we're going to really capitalize on the launch of this. I had so many women come up and say, thank you for sharing your story, because it gave me the courage to share my story. And in doing so, it liberated me from what was holding them back in life. And usually it's an aspect of the story that they're ashamed of, or they feel unaware of the need to share for the purposes of helping others. But I hope that these stories in this book helps others realize that their story has an important role and an important place in life to share. And it will be their therapy. It'll release something within them that will move them forward or unleash their obstacle or disbelief in themselves. and project them to the next step in their journey. So it really is a ticket. It's going to provide them with the permission to share their story, let go, or perhaps help others move forward. And that's how we create, this is how we're going to create this movement of greatness in everyone. Or as you've coined with your magazine definers, you know, everyday people recognizing the greatness within themselves so they can truly show up in life and serve the world in the way that they are meant to serve the world, their purpose for why they're here. So it really is, it's going to be a ticket to ride.
It's awesome. Okay, so this last part, I love it. This last part is what you just tied in, I want to tie into is we're doing something very special with this book. As you know, this 1111 project, I call it. Anytime I publish anything, there's got to be some kind of cool movement, energy. There's really great books out there, but I wanted to create something special with influence. And I can only do that with the support of you and the other 10 extraordinary women. And we want to inspire and influence 11,000 new influencers in the world. Imagine a world where a kickstart with 11,000 people like Mo Hagan, this world of motion, this movement. And the fact that we're launching together with you, and I'm so thankful that we're launching at World Fitness Expo, the most extraordinary expo I've ever seen anywhere in the world, but we get to launch with you at the Women of Influence event. So tell me your excitement around this 1111 and what we can do more to pump it up.
Well, I love its exponential impact, because if every, you know, when people think of how can I impact the world, they automatically think, oh my God, that's such a big task. I won't be able to do that, or I can't. And whereas you think about it, if each person thinks about the power of 11, and that's a very powerful number in itself, and they just focus on how can I influence, impact, inspire 11 people. And through that inspiration of reaching out to 11, that you then show them how to do the same, that exponential growth of if I impact 11 and each of them impact 11, and that just carries forward, that before we know it, we will have created a movement far greater than what we could do on our own. And we can create a movement that changes people's mindset around possibilities. This world is so cluttered with chaos and fear around everything. You know, I don't think a day goes by you don't hear some grim story on the news about something, economy, politics, war. And whereas this is about doing good and shaping people to really live in a happy, healthy place and living their true potential. So I'm excited about this, because to me, I love challenges and I love achievement. And when I know it's doable, then I can jump in with both feet, do my bit. And I know that by doing my bit, I help create this snowball effect that before you know it, we've created this massive movement that I can look back on in my life and go, I helped shape an entire industry to help the world live in a healthier, you know, wealthier place. And I did that with my contribution. So it's, you know, that's the thing I love. I'm entrepreneurial, but I'm also someone that needs it to be simple, and I need to have the steps so that I can feel like a winner every day when I show up, whether that's at work, in my life. So by knowing that I am going to carefully select my 11 people that I can use this book to help propel their life, and in doing so, they're going to pay it forward at the same time. And I'm excited to see where it's going to take us. I know it's going to be fantastic. I can't even imagine, but I'm not even going to try to imagine, because I'm not going to put limits on it.
Yeah, you know what? I'm so excited. I'm so excited for what you've done in your industry. And I want to, you know, on behalf of the whole fitness industry as a whole, I want to thank you for your influence. I'm excited about touring this book with you. I've already talked to Jack Canfield, our colleague, as you know, and Jack's like, oh, Mo's in the, hey, send me a copy, right?
Oh.
We've got some pretty cool people worldwide that are excited about this energy of influence actually being toured. I'm a big fan, as you know, of really well-written hard copy books. The reason I do a lot of hard copy is, like, even with influence, we've included like some really wicked worksheets, like affirmations, personal brand,
Perfect.
Visualization worksheets, dreaming bigger worksheets. And I love that because I'm very tactile and I want to be able to write and create my life and my influence in the world. So a lot of people ask me, you know, I do have ebooks, but Influence is a beautiful hard copy book. The richness of the 11 stories, you know, you're going to see Mo Hagan, full photo of her in the book as well. So if you want to get this book, now, Mo, I want you to comment for listeners also, how can people get to the Influence event that's happening in Toronto? Because there's some big stuff going on there.
There is, and it's Women Who Influence. It's on Thursday, August the 17th, 10:30 to 4 p.m. As you said, Gerry, many of the authors within the book Influence will be there, and some of them will be speaking, but they'll definitely be there. The book will be available. We'll be talking about that and how to utilize it to take their step forward, to create action on that day on how they can be of influence in the world. They can go to www.worldfitnessexpo.com/women-who-influence. So that's the web address. They can also go online and just Google World Fitness Expo and look for Women Who Influence. They can find it that way. They can contact myself. They can go to my website. It's also where they're going to see, I'm about to launch my brand new website.
Ooh, nice.
Positive influence, influence that really positively inspires women specifically. It's coming out next week. And of course, that's where they can work with me. And the tool that I'm going to work with is the book. I've already placed my order. I'm super excited to take action on this Power of 11. And
so women, okay, so your friends can immediately contact you for reserving copies from you.
Absolutely.
Perfect. So contact Mo. She's got a select number of people that she's already starting with her 11. So contact Mo to get your reservation of that copy. The book's coming out in July, and it's also going to be available through Mo and at the event too. So yeah, that's exciting. Okay, well, listen, it is time to influence the world. You are definitely an influencer in my life, and I'm under your influence. So I'm really excited about that. And I can't wait to see you at World Fitness Expo for the launch.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you. Thanks, Gerry.